Welcome back to the Morning Breadcast. I am Mark Krish, your host with Digging for End Time Truths, and we are into some good stuff this week. I hope you can follow along this week because we are into some really good series. We are going to cover not every place in the Bible, but many places in the Bible where Jesus says, if anyone's got an ear to hear what I'm talking about, you really need to listen. This is my Ears to Hear series, right? And today we are going to be delving into a subject out of Matthew, and it's called The Voice Crying. So we're going to start in Matthew chapter 11 and verse 7, and Jesus is talking about the John the Baptist, the prophet John the Baptist, and he is trying to ask the people, why did you go out to see this guy? What was it all about? So here we go, Matthew 11, and we're going to start at verse 7 where Jesus says, as they departed, Jesus began to say to the multitudes concerning John, what did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? But he asked them again, verse 8, but what did you go out to see? A man clothed in soft garments? Indeed, those who wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. Verse 9, he says, but what did you go out to see? 3 times he asked them. A prophet? Yes, I say to you, and more than a prophet. So Jesus is asking the crowd, because John drew a lot of people to get baptized. And Jesus is asking them, why did you go out to see this guy? Was it because he was dressed so good? Was it because he's just like a reed shaken by the wind, just, for entertainment? You go out to see this goofball out in the river? He goes, what did you go out to see? He goes, was it a prophet? He says, indeed, it was a prophet. And I'm going to tell you, verse 10, he says, for this is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my messenger before your face, who will prepare your way before you. So Jesus is saying, yes, you went out to see a prophet, and he's the prophet that is spoken of, that is going to give the message that I'm a voice crying in the wilderness, that the Messiah is coming. The guy whose shoelaces I'm not even worthy to touch. Okay? Verse 11, he says this, assuredly I say to you, among those born of women there has not risen one greater than John the Baptist, but he who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Verse 12, and from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. Verse 13, he says, for all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. Oh, verse 14, and if you are willing to receive it, he is Elijah who is to come. Verse 15, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Jesus is telling the crowd, listen, this guy that you went out to see, he is a prophet, and he spoke about me. And he actually makes the reference. In verse 14, it says, if you're willing to receive it, he is Elijah who is to come. Now, before Jesus' second coming, Elijah the prophet is supposed to show up. Jesus said, if you can receive it, if you can understand what I'm saying, this is the first coming, and this is your Elijah. The second coming is actually going to be Elijah. But he's saying, this guy's telling you I'm coming, okay? And he says, he who has an ear to hear, hear. Whenever Jesus says that, you better perk up your ears, because he's saying, you try to receive what I'm telling you right now. What I'm telling you is, you went out to see John. You didn't go out to see him because he was dressed in fancy clothes or because he was some freak show on the side. You went out to see him because he was a prophet, and the prophet was saying, Jesus is coming. And I'm telling you right now, Jesus came the first time, and he's coming the second time. So what's your takeaway for today? Listen. Prepare yourself. Listen. Get your ears ready. Listen to what the Spirit of the living God is telling you. Jesus is coming. Prepare your heart for his second coming. I'm going to leave you with that nugget, and we'll see you again next time on the Morning Breadcast.